Bob Persky got me involved in this on a case, the Johnny Wilson case. If came to me and he knew that was one of my passion, somebody like that got me into this. People like that made me aware of stuff like this. They got me involved. And those folks we count on to keep us in the loop of things. It's kind of hard. It's not accessible. I think we came a long way in the justice system for people with disabilities. They fully don't understand what's probably happening to them, because the advocates, by the time we find out about it or anything, it's probably too late. And the other thing is some of the folks that have agencies that they live with that supports them, that's not contacted in time. Like in the beginning stages, when you first get arrested and you got to talk to the detectives in the room, and the person doesn't understand, there's nobody there with them. They're not contacted. Just like when I had a gentleman that volunteered in our at the time, quite a few years ago, down at the mall. I used to work at Plymouth Meeting Mall. Our office was still there, and he went down to the mall. He did something that was not appropriate at all. A good thing that the mall called speaking for herself upstairs, and I had to go down, and the cops were already there. And if I didn't talk to the cops and let them know about this individual and that he had an agency and all that before anything happened, who knows, he would have been arrested I believe on the spot. So if we can avoid that and somehow let the justice, let them know that they have agencies and they should be contacted. Somebody should be contacted before that happens. Well, they're falsely accused. They've done things that they're easy targets. Their behavior, if you've seen on the news, and with this mental illness, what now the cops are doing, a couple of people that had mental illness acted out, and the cops are shooting, killing them, and asking questions later. They're dying. They don't understand. I think there was something on the news about a gentleman. We found out that he, on the news, he had mental illness, or had some issues going on, and the cops came, and this individual, and I found out the cops, shot him. I mean, now is really bad. I don't know what's going on. I just know, if you've seen it on the news, and I know you probably seen it on the news and heard it, that people that have different mental illness or disability, or doing something in the neighborhood that's not okay, or something's happening, and they don't understand what the cop is saying. So, of course, you know, uh, they're going to draw their weapon, and the next thing I know, the person's either got shot in the back, or or seriously injured. More so for African American people with disabilities and mental illness, is happening more than, you can see the stats, and you can see it yourself. I know you got a lot of information on this as well. With people with disabilities and different and people with color, there is two different systems. One for one for African American with uh, disabilities, like myself, and people with white, is totally different. That with disabilities, it's just or Puerto Ricans or any kind of person with disabilities with color, they're just they get more time. They're just treated uh differently uh than white folks with white folks with people with disabilities. There is a color barrier between, but all people with disabilities, no matter what, is really treated differently. I mean, you see more people with disabilities being shot, getting killed, because of what kind of behavior or disability. I've never seen so many um, people with disabilities that have mental illness or any kind of disabilities are being not just arrested, but being killed. They don't even make it to the jailhouse. They've been thrown into the paddy wagon, and it's just horrible how they treat people with disabilities in this justice system. We need some more education. We need some stronger laws statewide, um, not just laws on the books. Um, Clearly, that's not that's not working. We have all these laws, the ADA, American with Disabilities Act, and some of them maybe need to be retrained. There's training going around all over the place, but and you still have uh, cops out there that have this mentality of how to treat people with color and disability. There's some we got race parity, culture, your culture, and you got race as well. In the law and in the justice system towards us. I think we all have to come to the table with the justice system, with the cops. We to need to come together and work together and come up with something, um and and really force it and get and work on the curb, and even if some of the cops inside the police department could be racist. There's a whole lot of things that are coming out on even on the news now about all this. I think we all need to come together and come and work on something universal. And the advocates need to. I think we need to step our game, and come together and work on this issue. we used to have freedom marches. We used to march for freedom. We used to, and we used to, and freedom is, we made it every issue out there. And then after that, you know, we meet with legislators. We had to, we had to all come together to come up with something, to do something, not just to be marching, but you have to, what do you do after that? What have we done? What have we, marching is good, and all this, but the next step is to come and work on these issues. I think we really need to do more. I think we all need to, because we're in a different time now. I've seen a lot of people on the news, and I'm hearing a lot of people with disabilities are being killed, shot. You know, a lot of our folks are being killed, Jerry, every single day. When is this going to stop? The only way it's going to stop is we all got to come together, and come up with something, and make Washington, and make our issues known to DC. Put this on the books. Disability issues like this is not, like, it's not on the news. We're not, you know, there's a lot of things we're not doing, even the media. And we all need to, we you know, this has to change. The system is not accessible for us to even go into the courtroom. I can't even get up to the steps to the courtroom. It's not even that, Jerry. You can't even get into the courtroom. You can't even get, it's not even accessibility. It's no accessibility for people to even get to that point if we have to. It's not accessible at all. Nothing about us without us. We got to be at the table. You can't talk about us without me being there.